Heartbreak for the Islanders as they lose a controversial game in Denver to the Avalanche. We have our key takeaways from that game, plus our weekly farm report, and a lot more coming up on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast. So glad you could join us today, and thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. Lots to talk about on today's show. The Islanders fall to the Colorado Avalanche 5-3, a controversial and heartbreaking loss for the Islanders. They led 3-2 after two periods, took what seemed like a 4-3 lead with about 8 minutes left, but a goal was disallowed on replay. And I'll tell you, after watching the replay, it didn't look like the right call, but we'll get into all that. We've got our weekly farm report, and a former 30-goal scorer from the 90s is our Islanders' birthday of the day. If you've got something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment, a topic that you'd like us to talk about on the show, feel free to send us an email. The email address, lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we are happy to mention you on the show when we talk about whatever it is that's on your mind. You could also follow the show on Twitter at Locked On Isles, and you could follow me, Gil Martin, on Twitter at Ice Wars, NYR, VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all the latest Islanders news, notes, and happenings. And I am live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game. So please, I'll give you some instant insight and analysis. And it's always great to interact with fans during the games and really any time. So feel free to contact me via Twitter whenever you please. Our show is also up on YouTube every day. Goes live right now in the middle of the night. So when you wake up, it will be waiting for you in your inbox if you want to watch this podcast and not just listen to it. Islanders fall to the Avalanche 5-3. And look, I'm going to start off with this. This was a strong overall effort by the New York Islanders. Was this flawless game? Two got a goal because went into the empty net. That's too many. The Islanders just went up against the best team, or certainly the best, one of the two or three best teams in the National Hockey League, on the road, them for 60 minutes and just fell short. And I'll tell you, there were a lot of takeaways from this game. The biggest, well, first of all, Ilya Sorokin, 38 saves in this one, gave up 4 goals and 42 shots that he faced. Can't really see it. So, you know, and keep the Pageau and Parise. Palmieri had a goal. Had a goal, and Palmieri really does have good chemistry and played a strong game. New York Islanders, and they hustled. They had a nice pass during the game, really to be able to accomplish. Negatives is to talk about this. Look, been a regular list. Blame officials very say the refs cost us the game, or that is not my style. And in this, initially it was called a goal, and Abs challenge, which I don't close, and yet they overturned it. Here's the thing. In order to overturn a goal that was called on, there had to be evidence that the entire pocket across the view that the inter of had clearly gone as with a hard was over. Look, you can make all the excuses you want about Islanders were up 3 during the third chance to find it. Didn't play as well, obviously, as each Sunday. Took a whole penalty, and the Avalanche Landeskog cashed in on it and tied the game at 3. Then you had the back. But in addition, the Islanders went toe-to-toe with the best team in hockey on the road, and really played a pretty strong overall game. Got off to a little bit, but the last half of the first period and all of the second period pretty much were Islanders were playing strong hockey. Then in the third, they gave up, and then when the goal was overturned, you just got the feeling that the Islanders got demoralized and that was their chance, and then it had passed. Look, the Avalanche are so skilled. They are faster than the Islanders. They're more skilled than the Islanders. A little more, I think, and had every chance to this. They just couldn't pull it off. So, in sports, but this one, it tells you that even the Islanders, this is not their year. They don't have the luck. Things are just breaking their way. This has the performance. We'll see. He's over to Thursday's home game. Farm report. We'll check Bridgeport Islanders. He went there. A 30-goal scorer from the 90s. Let's see if you figure out who it is. 80s and 90s. All that and more. Go to Locked On Today's episode is brought to you at Built Bar. This is the time of year I've pretty much given up on all my New Year's resolutions, but not this year. I'm sticking to the resolution to eat right thanks to Built Bar. It almost feels like it's not really a resolution because I actually enjoy eating them. Have you tried the Puffs? If you haven't, you're missing out on one of Built's best tasting bars. Puffs are the first ever protein-infused marshmallow. They're fluffy, they're marshmallowy. They're not just a protein bar, they're a treat, and they're covered in 100% real chocolate. Puffs are a fan favorite. Listen to some of these incredible flavors. Yummy cinnamony churro, coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie. So good, these are going to be your new favorite. Most Built bars contain just 130 calories, only 4 grams of sugar, and 4 net carbs, but pack 17 grams of protein. Compare that to a candy bar, which usually has around 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. At Built Bar, they're all about the taste. They make it taste delicious first, then figure out how to make it healthy. And I don't know how, but they pull it off every time. Go to Built.com, use the promo code LOCK15 to get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. Thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Now podcast, nightly recaps of every NHL game Monday through Friday with analysis from our local experts. It's free and available wherever you get podcasts. Time for our farm report as we on all things and by 5-3 scores on Saturday. They faced the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, fell 5-3 at home. Then on Sunday, they beat the Charlotte Checkers, also at home, by by the very same margin. And look, the Islanders fell behind Bridgeport on Saturday and came back. They had a late rally. Andy Andreoff, Durando, Parker Witherspoon, each scoring. Jakub Skarek, 25 saves, but it wasn't quite enough in this one. And the Penguins, a team they're trying to catch, just a little bit too much. But on Sunday, a 5-3 comeback win over the Charlotte Checkers. This one was also at the Webster Bank Arena in Bridgeport. Down 2 goals after one period, the Islanders get 4 unanswered goals. They win the season series against Charlotte 4-3-1. And I'll tell you, Chris Terry, he did very well. Arnaud Durando, Jeff Kubiak, they all score. And meanwhile, Andy Andreoff, the tying goal and the winning goal as the Islanders got the win. Corey Schneider, by the way, 37 saves. He faced 40 shots. And again, I think one issue that we've seen with the Bridgeport Islanders, even when they win, they're giving up a few too many scoring chances. And that is, needless to say, frustrating for this team. You really want to see more from this team defensively, and it's something that this team needs to work on. Down on the farm at Bridgeport, we look at the leading score Islanders, and I'll tell you, some reliable players. Chris Terry, 40 points, 7 goals leading the team, 40 points leading the team. Otto Koivula has a team high 26 assists. He has 36 points in 43 games. And Andy Andreoff, 13 goals, 28 points. That puts him third. Among defensemen, by the way, Parker Witherspoon now with 15 points, leading the way. He has 3 goals and 12 assists. Grant Hutton, 6 goals and 14 points in that category. So, the Bridgeport Islanders looking to improve. Meanwhile, goaltending, Jakub Skarek, 12, 10, and 4 on the season, a 289 goals against and a 906 save percentage. Corey Schneider continuing to play better after a slow start to the season, 6, 9, and 2, a 907 save percentage and a 3.07 goals against average. And, for some reason, Bridgeport playing just a little bit better in front of Jakub Skarek than they are in front of Corey Schneider, at least over the long course of this season. So, that part not working out. Now, a busy weekend for the Bridgeport Islanders coming up. Friday and Saturday, 2 home games against the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. Friday and Saturday, both 7 o'clock Eastern time starts. And again, if you want to check out the Islanders' top prospects in Bridgeport, you could head up to the Webster Bank Arena for that. And then Sunday, 3 games in 3 nights, back-to-back-to-back, a trip up to Hartford to take on the Hartford Wolfpack. That, of course, the New York Rangers' top AHL team, and always a good battle. Now, the Islanders still in 8th place as of right now in the standings, but playoffs. And they're not that far off that pace as of right now. So still a chance for Bridgeport to sneak in the playoffs. Have been playing better, but right now, Wilkes-Barre Scranton is in the 6th spot with a 520 point percentage. The Islanders have a 461 point percentage. Not at all far behind. Lehigh Valley has a 479. If the Islanders can take both games against Wilkes-Barre Scranton this weekend, they have a chance to get right into the hunt for the playoff push. So certainly as we are in early March, the Bridgeport Islanders, again, playing better hockey the last 2 or 3 months than they did the first couple of months of this season, and still hanging around and fighting for playoff position. So we will keep an eye on that. Remember, we do our farm report usually on Wednesdays. Occasionally, if there's a lot of news or something happening, we'll push it to Thursday. But look for us every Wednesday on where we check in on what's happening to the Bridgeport Islanders, the Islanders' top affiliate. We've got more to get to on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. We'll have our Islanders birthday of the day coming up. And this one, a popular Islanders player going back to the late 80s and into the very early 90s. So let's see if you can figure out who it was, but a 30-goal scorer for the Islanders. All right, we are back. Time for our Islanders birthday of the day. And we're a couple of days late on this one, but we want to wish a very happy 57th birthday to former Islanders winger Mikko Makala, the native of Finland, drafted by the Islanders in the 4th round back in 1983. Made his Islanders debut in 85-86, had 16 goals and 36 points in 58 games as a rookie. His best season, 1987-1988, 36 goals, 76 points in 73 games. And, Makala also, played 17 playoff games for the Islanders in his career, 3 goals and 11 points in those. So he did contribute. After leaving the Islanders, went to the LA Kings, then to the Buffalo Sabres before returning to Europe, came back and played for Boston in 94-95 after the lockout was over, and then went back to Germany and Finland to finish out his hockey career, retiring after the 1998-99 season. Makala played in 423 NHL games, 118 goals, 265 points, and 139 penalty minutes, 18 playoff games, 3 goals, 11 points there. And interestingly enough, Makala later coached in the Western Hockey League in juniors for the Lethbridge Hurricanes for 2 years, although he did not have a lot of success there. And I interviewed Mikko Makela for my book, Ice Wars. Very nice guy, had some good stories to tell about the Islanders' rivalry with the Rangers and his memories of what he did with the Isles. So thank you again to Mikko Makela for taking the time to talk to me when I was doing the interviews for the book. We'll look at one of Mikko Makela's better games with the Isles, February 23rd, 1988, at the Nassau Coliseum, welcoming the Vancouver Canucks. Kirk McLean, the goalie for Vancouver, while Kelly Rudy was the netminder for the Islanders. And in the first period, it was the Isles getting on the board first. Brian Trottier, his 21st from Jeff Finley and Tomas Janssen at 9:06. Islanders won, and the Canucks nothing. A lot of fisticuffs in that first period. First, Dale Henry of the Islanders and Garth Butcher of the Canucks dropped the gloves. And then Bob Basson of the Islanders and Ron Stern of the Canucks went at it later on in that opening period, but the Islanders had a 1-0 lead. In the second period, the Islanders turned it on. Derek King, his 8th. From Alan Kerr and Pat LaFontaine at 2:10, that made it 2-0 Isles, and then the power play went to work. The Islanders getting Rich Sutter of Vancouver off for tripping. Brian Trottier is second of the game, 22nd of the year. Dennis Potvin, and our Islanders' birthday of the day, Mikko Makela with the helpers at 3:43, 3-0 Islanders. Then the power play strikes again. Willie Huber of Vancouver off for holding. Brad Lauer cashes in for the Isles, his 14th. Brent Sutter and Derek King with the assists at 11:10. 4-0 Islanders. Then the Islanders are shorthanded. Randy Wood was off for holding, but Mikko Makela, our Islanders' birthday of the day, with a shorthanded goal, his 32nd of the year, the only assist to Brian Trottier. After 40 minutes, the Islanders held a 5-0 lead. And then in the third period, again, the Islanders shorthanded. Gerald Diduck off for holding. Mikko Makela, his second goal of the game. It was another shorty, his 33rd of the year. Brian Trottier, again, the assist at 8:48. Late in the game, Petri Skriko of Vancouver breaks the shutout, his 25th from Greg Adams and Garth Butcher, but the Islanders win it by a score of 6-1. Kelly Rudy, 30 saves as the Islanders get the win. They outshot the Canucks 41-31 in this one. And for our Islanders' birthday today, Mikko Makela, 2 goals, 3 points. He was a +2, and he led all Islanders players with 5 shots on goal. So Mikko Makela, a guy with good hands, good speed, he and a 30-goal season for the Islanders back in 1987-88. He is our Islanders' birthday of the day. Where do we go from here? That has to be the question. Still waiting for Zdeno Chara and for Matt Barzal to be healthy again and return to the lineup. They remain day to day, but maybe they'll be ready Thursday against Vancouver. We'll keep you updated via tweet and via the podcast. I think the Islanders have to build on this. I mean, look, they ended up going 2-1 on this road trip. But overall, you know what? They didn't play badly. Even the game that they lost against San Jose, they had 47 shots on goal. They had their chances, couldn't finish. Colorado had their chances to win the game, went toe-to-toe with a great team. The only game they played during this road trip that was really unacceptably below par was the loss in L.A., But, 2-1 just isn't going to get it done when you're back against the wall. So the Islanders returning home for a couple of games, and they really do need to keep playing well, regardless of whether you can make the playoffs or not. Play well, try to create. If you're going to sell some players, let those players play well, and you can trade them for more, and then rebuild your team by creating a winning culture and getting some assets at the trade deadline. We will be back tomorrow. We will have a full preview of the Thursday game against Vancouver and the latest injury updates. Thanks for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Hosts Steele Roden and Flip Livingstone help you become the expert of your fantasy league. It's free and available wherever you podcasts. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe. And of course, let's go Islanders.